Welcome to this podcast is making me thirsty, the number one destination for Seinfeld fans. This is episode 171. You know today's guests from Black Adam, Stumptown, Murder She Wrote, Waterworld, and of course, as the Jiffy Park and Jiffy Dub attendant in two Seinfeld episodes, The Wig Master and the Muffin Tops. Please welcome Chaim Jeraffi. Chaim, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's an honor, Chaim. And so take us back April of 1996, not too long ago. The Wig Master, real fun episode aired on NBC. Tell us a little bit about how the role came about. Was there an audition process? Would love to hear some of the ins and outs of how that role came about for you.
Yeah, it was an audition. I remember that was Friday, kind of afternoon. I was just with the casting. I forgot his name. That's not fair, but many years.
Mark Hirschfeld.
Oh, okay. So I remember reading with him, and then he said, "Can you wait here?" I said, "Yeah," and I waited, and then they sent me to the other building, and they gave me a different material. The same, the same thing, but different material. And I was like nervous, like hell. I said, I need to call my wife. I don't know if I understand that good or whatever. So I remember calling my wife and telling her, let me know if I'm okay with the lines over here or whatever. Anyway, I was kind of nervous. And then I got into a room with Seinfeld and producer, and I started reading, and the guy's cracking around, and I was like, are they making fun of me or are they making fun with me? What's going on here? I was like kind of, as 2 years in America, and like in the, in a episodic that I think it was like a dream for me to get into or whatever. Anyway, so I got the part, and it just was amazing.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so you said you were just got to America maybe a couple of years before that. Were you? This was season 7 of Seinfeld, The Wig Master. So they were top of the game right there. It sounds like you were aware of the show itself and how kind of big it was. Was that on your radar, or were you just in there thinking it was just a normal show, or did you know kind of how big the part was?
Yeah, just thinking about being in Seinfeld was like, for me, I was like, I want to be there, especially, Kramer is kind of guy that get crazy, this guy. So I was like, when I got this part, I was like calling to my friends, to everywhere, to my country, I'm going to be in Seinfeld. That was like just amazing, kind of.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah, and the scene you're referring to, I think I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it might have been the audition scene. I don't know. Maybe you could tell us if you remember. But your scene with Jason, when you just keep it so cool with him, it's one of those things that we've all kind of been frustrated by, sort of that either attendant or customer service person who just won't kind of buzz, where you're just like, you keep it so cool when he's like, I would like to get my car back. You're like, ideally. And then you're like, we ask that you bear with us in this time, and maybe taking up a consumer affairs. You have all these kind of like one-liners that you just deliver so perfectly. Maybe you can kind of talk about working with Jason on kind of that back and forth in those scenes where you just kind of were really needling him, and he just gets more and more and more aggravated with you.
When you work with those kind of guys, I mean, and I'm seriously, is like when you are on stage. All I did before in my country, I did stage. When you work with somebody, you take his energy and you go with that. As much as he's getting crazy, makes you feel like, okay, let me play with this guy. It's so beautiful. And he gave me that kind of vibe, like, please just bear with me. I don't know. I mean, and you say, but how? It's beautiful. You look at him and say, yeah, I love it. if you understand what I'm talking about, this kind of an energy that you get from those amazing actors, just amazing actors. It's
Yeah, and George
yeah.
George Costanza was that, that New York fiery temper, right? And
Yeah.
obviously you said you were 2 years into the country. I mean, just those New York City parking garages. If you ever been there, they drive you crazy. There's 50 floors. It goes back. The whole thing. So, um, what kind of I guess what kind of research did you have to do? Like when your agent gave you the script, you're like, Jiffy Park guy. Well, like, what was the first thing that kind of came to mind? Like, how are you going to play this role? Well, or what did you know about New York City garages, if you will?
I didn't know about New York City, and I didn't think about New York City. I thought about, it's funny, but the Middle East. The Middle East is the same thing. I'm from Israel, and in Israel is the same thing. They can drive you crazy by being cool. Like, well, I'm sorry, come tomorrow. Yeah, I understand, but try tomorrow. It's like
Yeah.
that was that was my feeling. Is like looking at him and saying, "I'm sorry, we'll talk tomorrow." Uh, it's the same thing. You see that in offices or whatever. You are like, and they look at you and say, "Sorry about that. Come tomorrow. Bye bye. Thank you." Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah, they're always screwing
I
you.
mean,
yeah.
funny is an international language, Heim. So you clearly
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
took care of that one. Um, so you mentioned Jerry was in the audition.
Yeah.
So and this was season 7. So Larry David was still there as well. Was Larry on set? Did he have any interactions with him?
No,
Just Jerry.
just Jerry. And
Was
was cracking when I was auditioning. And that's why I told my wife, in the beginning, I didn't know if he's making fun of me or it is so funny.
yeah.
Was
And
like,
were your
and then you learn when you go to the set, you learn those guys are just them great, great uh, to work with. I mean, it's just amazing to work with.
Yeah, and you mentioned the set, so we were curious about that because your scenes seemed like they might have been on off site, maybe at an actual garage in California or something like this. Were you there the whole kind of week of taping and on set and interacting with all the different guest stars and actors, or did you just shoot your sort of off site scenes with Kramer and Jason and Michael
That's
kind of
great.
off site?
And Jason, but we did, around the table.
Oh, you were there for all that.
That was amazing. And also we did it with the audience. And you know what? The funny things, I love it. One, we finish everything as one of the guys from the audience asked question and said, is this guy, is he parking attendant or he's actor? I was like, I'll take it as a compliment, or
Yeah.
maybe I'll run over there. I'm gonna get him now. But I took it as a compliment. He said, he's a real actor or he is a real parking guy.
Oh wow, yeah, that is a compliment. I mean, you played the role so
Oh,
well.
and
And from what we gather, just from doing some light research, Spike Feresten wrote this episode, and I believe it's based on a true story of him parking a car in New York City and having stepping on a used condom and thinking that there might have been like the same thing happened in this. It's interesting because he wrote the Muffin Tops as well, your second episode, the same writer. Curious, did you have any interactions with Spike Feresten, the writer? I mean, he seemed to obviously they didn't have to bring you back for the second episode, the Muffin Tops. They really showed loyalty there and kind of rekindled your character there with the owning the dump as well. How did that come about? Sort of the second episode, the Muffin Tops.
I'm not sure, but I remember seeing him on set when we did Jiffy Park. And I remember him just coming to me all the time and laughing and says, "Oh man, you're hilarious," and whatever. And I was like, "Wow, thank you." And then I found myself in Muffin tops. But that's the only interaction we had. But
yeah, and your muffin top appearance is one of Seinfeld lore. Our fans would love to hear the backstory on your line of the muffin tops where you say, "This is what I like to know about it." I mean, was it written that way? I mean, that's how it was written, or did you kind of fumble the line? They left it. I mean, you got to tell us about that.
Yeah, no, I was just a little bit nervous, and I maybe forgot my lines or whatever. And I was like looking at him, and I said, "That's what I like to know about it." And I was like, but they like it, and they left it like that. But I don't think that was the lines, that was the real lines. But it was kind of
that I mean, that's a line that I tell you, people just love it. Muffin Tops 31 million viewers. All right. The Wigmaster did 30 million, so over 60 million people watched you, Chaim. Obviously, and the way you delivered these lines was just remarkable. And you brought it's funny you mentioned the audition. Everyone was dying of laughter. So I'm just looking at your history. I know you did a lot of theater. Was it comedic theater? Because just seeing your television history, right? Reasonable Doubts, Murder She Wrote, Quantum Leap. Not funny stuff, if you will. So tell us a little bit how that kind of comedic, I don't know, ability came to. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing there.
Yeah, on stage I did a lot of comedic stuff on stage. Comedic, and don't tell anybody. I used to sing also. So, comedic or musicals. But basically, I did a lot of comedy on stage for kids, on whatever. I did. Anyway, yes, I love comedy. Comedy is my thing. I don't know. I love comedy.
Yeah,
my kids can tell you. Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier kind of working with Jason and kind of needling him, like you said, around as he was like yelling, you were getting more and more calm, and that comedy really played off really well. You also do some great back and forth with Michael Richards, who's obviously Emmy Award winning comedic actor as well. When Kramer, you like a Cadillac, that whole thing there. I mean, what was it like working? We've heard some great stories about Michael Richards, and this is offset, but I mean, it's more out of his element, and he also, you needled him a bit too, but maybe you could touch on kind of the back and forth with Michael, either on or offset, because he seems to be a great guy to work with. We've heard from other guest stars.
Michael Richards, I remember walking with my lines and practicing my lines and this, and he said, "Hey, leave it, don't stress out of it." I said, "Oh yeah, you're right." And I look at him and I see him going back and forth, and I said to myself, he is serious. 7 years, and he's still working like yesterday he got the job. He is so serious about whatever he's doing. And if you ask me, he's one of the best comedians. And I can put him together with the best comedian ever, because he's so, he's so professional, and also he can do with his body whatever he want to do. Technically, it looks like easy. It's not easy, whatever he's doing. It's just being athletic the way he is athletic. He's just fun kind of guy. I mean, just really, I remember in the 70s or whatever, I used to watch all the comedian like Jerry Lewis.
Yeah.
And he remind me, he's in that, in that place with Jerry Lewis and all those amazing guy that can go with their body, with their whatever. He's just amazing. I think he's one of the best comedian I He's my best guy.
Yeah, hard to argue. So it sounds like you had a kind of a special chemistry with Michael Richards. Do you guys get lunch together? Well, tell us a little bit what happened on the set. Who'd you hang out with?
Oh, on the set, we just talked here, talked there, but he's so serious when he's working on a set. He just went by himself. You see him always practicing, moving, doing things, bang, bum, bum. He got me nervous sometimes when I and I said to myself, "Oh, I need to practice." This guy, he's just like big energy, and you feel his energy while you're walking on over there. He's so serious, whatever he's doing, and it's funny because he's so serious, being anyway.
Yeah, very meticulous, right? Very professional. Going back to the Muffin Top episode, just because, like O'Hara said, it's one of the bigger episodes in Seinfeld lore. That's another one that's kind of off site, right? They have the bus, the Peterman bus tour, and you're, Kramer trying to get rid of the muffins. Was that another, like, were you there the whole week, or you just came in for that shoot? Like, did you get to work with, anyone on that bus? Like, you involved in that whole scene, or kind of just came in for that one quick shot? And
no, quick shot, and that was
again, though, it's so great. I think that they brought you back for that, right? To kind of bring it all together with, Kramer using that same consumer affairs line. I will take it up with consumer affairs, right? The callback from a year ago for a guest actor. It shows kind of the loyalty that Seinfeld has for their, one of their own, if you will. I would think that that must have felt good, and probably at the time and further down the line, where throughout your career after Seinfeld, we like to hear stories about, like, how you compare the sets, right? So it sounds like Michael Richards was so professional, right? Jerry was so great to you. Spike Feresten brings you back for the second. Like, that doesn't happen in every set, right? I mean, what did you take from working with the Seinfeld crew as you kind of went on with your career, throughout acting?
That was just amazing. I remember 10 or 15 years after Seinfeld, 15 years, I went to Switzerland with my kids, traveling and whatever. We were sitting at the, Starbucks over there. I'm sitting with my kids. All of a sudden, group of guys came to me, and they were like, "Oh my God, this is Jiffy Park!" 15 years. I went to Canada. Wherever I went, it's unbelievable. They recognize you after 15, 20 years traveling around the world. So you understand, this show is the biggest show ever. Everywhere you go in the world, the Middle East. I'm going to the Middle East. Hey, are you Jiffy Park? Huh? Oh, I saw you. You're funny. You're funny.
Well, think about it, Chaim. I mean, your scenes were like 90 seconds. And that's how, to your point, that's how powerful the show is. That you're still recognized to this day as a Jiffy Park guy or the Jiffy Dump guy. And again, to Tony's point, that shows the loyalty of Jerry, and knowing that you would resonate, right? And and even the casting director to find you was incredible. So you said you're from Israel. When Seinfeld started, and I know you've done a ton in America, but were you did you grow up kind of watching the show? Did you see it from its infancy, or when did you kind of first learn about Seinfeld, the phenomenon, and were you a fan of it?
I think 2 years before I started. You have to understand there is a culture, and the way you grow up, you grow in your country, it's a different culture, different kind of sense of humor, and also English. So in the beginning, I saw that, and I was like, okay. And then I started getting hooked to that. And if you ask me, I'm watching that until now, almost on a daily basis. Not my thing, but my wife and me almost, let's say, every other day watching Seinfeld, because
Nice.
something that I can explain it. There is something that's the best show ever. If you ask me, that's the best comedy ever for me. And I'm watching a lot, but that's the best comedy ever, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, us too, obviously, where we've dedicated 3 years to this podcast talking about it. And not to put you on the spot, but with that rousing endorsement, what are some of your, what are some of your episodes that you like, or your characters, or scenes, or just a line? Just what is kind of, where do you when someone asks you, like, what's your favorite Seinfeld episode, or top five, or whatever it might be, what comes to your mind, just to put you on the spot a little bit?
Didn't think about it because I'm watching so many of them, but Wigmaster is one of them. Wigmaster,
of course.
I mean, not just my part or whatever, but they're so good. I cannot put my finger on something. Every situation, their choice is so amazing by working with that situation, no matter what. I mean, everything is just good and funny. I don't have a favorite one. All of them are my favorite, to be honest. All of them. And I watched them, at least each one of them, 120, 100, 200 times. So, yeah, as I said.
That's fair. And the Wigmaster is a classic. We spoke with the Wigmaster himself as well. Yeah, a lot going on in that episode. And we mentioned kind of some of the main stars. Was there any other? I mean, Julia. Was there any interaction with Julia Louis-Dreyfus, or were you hanging out with mostly some of the other guest stars? Tell us a little bit about that week.
With Julia, just very, kind of casual. Hi, nice to meet you. My name is this and that. But we, people busy doing their stuff. As an actor, when they are on stage or getting ready for whatever, you leave them alone. You don't bother people. But they're so professional and also so nice but anything special, really nothing special. Jerry was like sort of kind of producer, actor, right, whatever. So that was kind of different.
Yeah, season 8, obviously Larry left. It doesn't sound like you had any interaction with Larry. I think we touched on a little bit, but just when you got that phone call to return, what do you remember about that? Like, were you surprised when your agent called you that they're going to bring you back? And did you know you were going to be the same? I guess you were the same character. You just had a dump instead of a parking lot, but which makes it funny. I get it. But that must have felt incredible for a guy who a year ago you're in the auditions, you weren't sure if they were laughing at you or with you, and now they want you to come back to the #1 show on television. That had to feel really good.
I was thrilled when they called me again. I was like, oh my God, I wish they're going to continue years and years, and I'll be the Jiffy this, Jiffy this, Jiffy that. But
right.
Yeah, those two. Oh yeah. I was thrilled when they called me again. I was like, oh my God, Seinfeld. So
do you have the shirt? Do you have the Jiffy Park shirt? The T-shirt that you were giving out to Kramer?
Yeah. I don't have it with me, but I got to tell you a story. I met guys from Canada, and he's a business guy, and he told me, listen, I'm opening a business and they call it Jiffy something. And I don't know how they got to me, and they said, please, we got 1,000 and 1,000 people, groupies of Jiffy Park. And I want to do something. Anyway, we shot a few, few little story as Jiffy. And he brought with him so many those of T-shirts. And he told me, please, a lot of people want those T-shirts signed by you. And I looked at that and I said, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And you're talking about 20 years ago. I mean, 20 years after the show, or maybe that was like 7 years ago.
Wow.
And a lot of those T-shirts. And he told me, you don't know, in Canada, there are hundreds of thousands that are crazy about Jiffy Park guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible, right? I mean, just like you said, that audition, Jerry saw it right away. Laugh. Once he laughed, you're in. And then from there, 20, 30 years later, it's a testament to your abilities and your comedic senses. It really is, Chaim.
Yeah, the thing is, it's Seinfeld, the recognition of whatever character they build, because they build character, they're writing, they build that Jiffy. You come to the building office for a different kind of thing, just to have business here and there, and all of a sudden, the building manager stop. Hey, are you Jiffy? Jiffy Park from Seinfeld? Yes. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! You look at that. He said, "That's a different story." Episodic one. That's unbelievable. It's not me. It's the show himself. So powerful.
Yeah.
Hey, Chaim, take advantage of it. Look at the Larry Thomas, a soup Nazi guy. He says no soup for you, and he's making millions a year. Get on Cameo, do the whole thing. People would love to hear from you.
All right, I don't know.
That's what I'd like to know about it. Yeah, yeah.
Your kids will tell you, right? They love the show still, obviously, right?
Oh yeah. You know what? I can't do that. That's
and I'm just, I mean, you are the Jiffy Park guy, but you always wondered. You've watched so much Seinfeld. Were you ever like, I could have played that part, or you just know you're the Jiffy Park guy with Seinfeld, and you wouldn't change it for the world?
I'm not sure what you asked me. So can you ask me again?
I was just always curious. You're a big fan of Seinfeld, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Is there ever a part you watch and said, "Man, I could have played that part," or are you content that you were the Jiffy Park guy?
No. I'm the Jiffy Park, Jiffy Dump.
That's what I thought.
I'm not gonna. Nothing.
Yeah, no need to.
I think we all agree. I mean, you brought that character to life. I believe you elevated both of those episodes, even in your short period of time. So I mean, just wonderful job, Chaim. Can't thank you enough for making us laugh all these years.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Chaim. This was great.
I really, really appreciate the time with you guys. It's coming back. Coming back to Seinfeld again. For me.
Yeah, lot of fun. I'm glad. Listen, I'm glad they were so loyal to you, and obviously, you paid big dividends because we're still talking about it today. So thanks so much, Chaim.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Chaim. This was great.
All the best.
Thank you. See you guys.